Sorry, I'm just getting my questions up, so I'm not like lost.
Sure. And you really do have a great setup, by the way.
Thank you.
Lighting is perfect. Everything you have behind you, you have a very good look. And I love it. Fierce, and strength. I love your shirt.
Thank you.
Everything's very organized. You're very good, very clean. Everything's great. Good
Thank
job.
you. I'm very nervous, but
Don't be. We're just two friends talking. I just happen to be in an Oscar nominated film. That's all. Okay, you start. No, just kidding. For real. It's just two friends talking about something we like, and that's it.
yeah. Okay. So hello.
Hi.
So you're in Encanto. Could you explain who your character in Encanto is?
Well, my character's name is Dolores, and she has the power of super hearing. She hears everything, even a pin drop. And she is one of the madrigals and is the daughter of Pepa and Felix. So as the story unfolds, you get to know Abuela Alma, and Abuela Alma had three kids, and they were all triplets. So she had Bruno, she had Pepa, and she has Julieta. And so I am the daughter of Pepa with Felix. And then Mirabel is the daughter of Julieta and Agustin, which is the one that is always getting himself into trouble, and he's allergic to bees, and poor guy is always getting stung by bees. So we're like the cousins living in the house with Mirabel and her family, because it's like the grandma and all three kids and all their families. It's pretty Latin style. And so I try to do the best that I can with the gift I'm given, which is to be the information specialist, kind of like what you're doing right now, just finding out the information, sticking to the facts, and telling that. Now, even though she can hear everyone's secrets, I mean, everyone's, she doesn't really tell everybody's secrets. So people call her like chismosa. She's not chismosa. She's not the tattletale. But when it's time for it to be something important that is detrimental to the family's safety, that's when she breaks the protocol of confidentiality. But this whole story takes place in an enchanted place, an Encanto, in the hills of Colombia, a magical land. And the whole family is just filled with adventures inside of their home.
So I have Asperger's, and I think that's why I related to Dolores so much, because she's also like very quiet, and I'm also
Yes.
super quiet. Because do you know what Asperger's is? So
Yes, I do.
yeah, so yeah, that's the one of the reasons I created my business, and it was just cool to see that they have like a Disney character that's super quiet.
And she is. And even if you notice the way she claps,
Yeah,
she claps with her feet.
she covers her ears.
It's everything. She
Yeah.
does. When it gets so loud, she covers her ears. And even though all of those moments are so sensitive to her, she still wants to be a part of them, which is really special about that character, that she's not over the top. She's still calm. She delivers her lines. The only one worried about the magic is you, because everything is so loud and everything, that even when she speaks in a very intimate tone. That was one of the things that when it came time to recording the song, I felt, and I told, Lin-Manuel this, I was like, I feel like she would do it low and not in a grew to live in fear, Bruno stuttering and stumbling. She would do it grew to live in fear, like nice and low and intimate. And so it's like, do you understand? I'm telling you a secret, but I'm singing it at the same time. I'm kind of rapping it and giving all this information. And the take that you see on my TikTok at Adassa Official, that is the first take when I was kind of showing him what I was thinking. And that was his reaction. And most of the take that you hear on the final in the movie is from that take.
That's awesome. So were you like into musicals and stuff before? Because I know you did your own music and stuff. But
I did. For many years I was signed to Universal Latino, and I'm forever grateful to that label, because they gave an opportunity to me. And back in the day when I was signed in 2003, 2004, people that were Afro Latinos like me, they weren't given the opportunity to be signed with a major label. And they did. They believed in me doing something reggaeton, which in that time only the Puerto Ricans were doing it, really, and some of the Dominicans. But being bilingual, being Afro Latin, being a woman, doing reggaeton, and wanting to do it in English and in Spanish. And they took a chance, and I'm forever grateful for all of their support. It took me around the world. I got to do things with Daddy Yankee. I got to travel to Japan with Sierra and open her show. And with Pitbull, I combined many times. Winston and Yandel, we were on tour together. So many of the greatest. And it was so nice to have that. But then I had, from my youth, I mean, since I was like 9 years old, the film that did it for me was The Little Mermaid and Ariel, and Jodie Benson's voice is forever in my mind. Like, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be part of that world. As I grew up, and I met my husband, Gabriel Candiani, who's a producer, it kind of took me into the realm of doing things more in mainstream, but I always had that dream. And I took opera when I was in school. So like all that, that's how I used to sing. And when I met him, he was like, all right, everything you learned, we're going to put that in the shelf, and we're going to do this. So I had to learn how to use my voice and interpret a different way, which now is what I do for fun and for a living. It's I love doing voiceovers. I love turning into different characters. I love being in animation. You can be a butterfly, you can be a bug, you can be Dolores and Encanto, you can be anything and in anywhere in space and time and imagination. You're not held to even being on Earth anymore. I love that.
Yeah, I the all the stuff you've done is amazing. Me and my mum, we were like looking at all the stuff you've done, and we were just like, you've done a song with Snoop Dogg as well. What was that?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
With Cult Records, I dabbled into the dance realm, and Cult Records is a label in New York, and Leela is the name of the label owner. She was amazing. She gave me so many opportunities in the dance realm and working with American artists like Snoop and with Flow Rider as well. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. It was a different thing than doing reggaeton. And that's where I really fell in love with being broad and just not being put into a box. Because nowadays it's like, so what are you? It's like, I'm a person and I love doing music and I like making noise. And what if I want to make it in English or in Spanish, or if I want to do a Tejano record and then do a Latin record, I'll do it. And now I have that freedom. And with Disney gives you the ability of creating new worlds and new imaginations. And I'm forever grateful to be a part of such an amazing cast. And in this song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, it's got #1. I mean, third week in a row, #1 on the Billboard 100s. We are all so excited. And with this nomination now with Dos Oruguitas, which is the heart and soul of the film, the one that tells the story of this magical enchanted family being nominated, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda deserves this and so much more.
Can you relate to your character?
Yes, absolutely. I feel that when I was recuperating from COVID and the battle that I had to go through with my strength and having issues with being able to talk and walk at the same time, I had to lean into whispering and speaking in very hushed tones and being very intimate, even with my kids, just telling them, please pick up your socks and you take this to the kitchen. And I was all of my senses were very heightened and sensitive. So I had to walk around with AirPods and put them on, the silence mode. I don't know if you've done that before. Sometimes when things are just too loud, I'm not sure if with your Aspergers you've had to experience that when you're in with a crowd. Well, in my family, it's living in a crowd. I have 7 kids, so the noise factor was so bad at some points when I was recuperating that I had to have my AirPods on, and I would tell them, I really need you to just speak very quietly and one at a time, because I can't hear you when you're all talking, at the same time. So when I was with the directors, and I'm a very animated person and I speak loud, Latinos speak with their hands and just very loud. And when they told me, well, we feel like she would be a more intimate talker, she'd be like an intimate speaker and just more calm. And I was like, I know that place. Like, I've been there. That's where I've been living for 3 weeks. So it was very easy to fall into the pocket of Dolores, and she will be forever part of me. I think that we all have a little Dolores inside of us when we know information, and we're trying to keep that secret and trying to be helpful in a family environment. I think my kids even think sometimes, they're like, how did you know I didn't brush my teeth? I'm like, I hear everything.
Did you I feel like in like all out of like all the characters, she's like the most relatable, but then you can relate to
Oh,
like all of them separately as well. So I like how they've done that because it's like it's very I don't know, it's just like because you don't there's not a Disney movie really like that, I don't think, where you can
no.
relate to every character. So yeah, it's just awesome.
I think that that's exactly what the magic of We Don't Talk About Bruno, because it took off so big because everybody was cosplaying in TikTok. I think they all identified with one character or the other. If it was Dolores, if it was Felix, if it was Pepa, and their liveliness and their essence of who they are and the story behind who they were. Like, why was Pepa so upset? She was upset because he ruined her wedding day. And then Felix was just like repeating, yeah, it was our wedding day. And he was just trying to calm her down the whole time. But because he mentioned there might be rain, she got mad and there was actually rain. And because she controls kind of the weather and or the weather with her feelings or the feelings are connected to the weather. So if she's flustered, so is everything. There's a hurricane opening up. Or in if you feel like Isabella, that you have to be absolutely perfect, or it's just not good enough, or Dolores, where she's not even heard sometimes. Like, has anybody asked her what she's feeling? Not really. They just ask her what she's hearing. So she has her own dreams that she wants to fulfill. And at the end, she kind of gets her dream. Like, she didn't want to make it obvious and be like, hey, Isabella, get out of the way. It's my man. She was in love with him the whole time. And Isabella really didn't care.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that family dynamic.
Did COVID affect like your career at all? Like,
I,
or
um, yes, because number one, because of COVID restrictions, the whole world shut down. So doing live shows, which is part of what a performer does, we love to be in front of people and have that one-on-one. So it took away the tangible aspects of being an artist. But at the same time, it heightened the ability to connect with the world. So to me, it was a bittersweet. Also, my husband and I, we did have COVID in January, and then again we got hit with the second wave in March. So it hit very close to home. Not just the restrictive part of being able to function in a society under COVID, but what it actually feels like, and it is no joke, and it is real. And I myself am a survivor of it, but not many people that had it, had that now with vaccinations and everything, things have changed, and the opportunities to have alternative modes of dealing with COVID and everything. It's different now than it was at the beginning, but I'm forever grateful for all of the people, in the hospitals that are just doing the best that they can to keep you comfortable and everything. And it did change everything around the world. But I feel like we have adjusted and living a new reality. And we've learned to connect in a different, deeper way with the world. So, out of something tragic that has affected so many lives in such a deep way and a forever changing way, at the same time, we have made connections that have lasted throughout a hard time.
yeah, I actually started my business like at the start of COVID, and
Oh,
I got in contact with this YouTube channel, and they've like helped me through the whole like even like till today, and they I think have like almost 10 million. So I'm like, it's very yeah.
wow.
The thing I have the thing tattooed on my what you
That's
yeah
amazing. Oh my gosh.
yeah
Congratulations.
yeah. So
It's an incredible place. I think that you are doing such an important work for everybody out there that believes that they might not have what it takes, or it's too hard, or because of this situation that I have, or this physical impairment, or whatever that we're born with. Sometimes you just don't have a choice necessarily on what hardships or things you have to overcome in your life. But sometimes those things that make you different become your strength, become that thing. For me, when I heard your story, it was so powerful. And I wanted to support what you're doing because you are very organized, you're determined, and you're not scared. You are fearless. And even if you may have some fear, you still overcome that and you took a step forward, because sometimes the hardest thing is to ask, hey,
Yeah.
would you do this, please? You know, and you did. And I said yes. And I love what you're doing. And I want to support what you're doing, you
Thank you
know?
so much. Like with my Asperger's, I I didn't think I would be able to like do podcasts or video calls. So I think it was November last year. I spoke at the stadium in Perth in front of like 2,000 people, and that was like scary. But yeah, I that's I've learned that um like if I don't do something, I'll like regret it after. And also like my brand is like fear is your strength. So like I
Yes.
yeah, I push myself to do the things that I'm like scared of. So yeah.
Well, you're doing amazing. And fear can be our strength, because sometimes instead of letting the fear debilitate you and keep you from doing it, you use it for it to become that traction to go even further and farther than you can ever believe. And some people are just so afraid of being afraid that they don't understand they can take that. How has it been for you? Now I'm going to interview you. How has it been for you from the first moment you decided to make this? What was the driving force for you not to stop? Did you feel any moment where it was like it's getting hard, or you weren't getting callbacks from people? Tell me about that. How was that for you?
Um, I think for me, I mine has more to do with like the like I don't know because I when I started working or like I've been like working throughout all of this, and I think it was like a few weeks ago I couldn't do it, so I just like stopped everything. And I think yeah that got I think it's just like overwhelming. So
Yeah.
yeah, I to keep it going, I think it's just I for some reason, even though I have Asperger's, I like meeting people and like talking to people. But yeah, I I think it's the meeting the people that keep me going, because I have talked to some awesome people and got to meet some awesome people and made
Oh.
some friends. So it's pretty cool what I'm doing, and I like I don't know. It's my passion. I want to make it my job, but it's pretty hard.
You know what? You know how long it took me to get where I am right now?
How long?
20 years to fulfill my dream, because my dream was always to do something with Disney. So if it's like something that makes you absolutely want to get up in the morning and you're passionate about it, then you will never stop. And one day you'll collect enough information and you will have done it so much that then things will take off when it's meant to be. If you stop before that moment, it's like you are waiting for a net to appear. But if you fly forever because you are just a bird, then you will never expect the net to be there. So that means you'll never stop. You might get detoured, like you might be going, I think I'm going here, and then all of a sudden the flight pattern changes and then you go that way and then you'll end up somewhere you will never have expected, but it's going to be so much better for you and it's going to bring you so much more joy and more fulfillment. So if you're doing what you love like you are, and you're touching people's lives and inspiring, because to me you're inspirational, that even though you have Asperger's and for so many people they use that as their like excuse to not be able to progress, you're using it as your strength. You're teaching them, why don't you see this in a different light? Why don't you see it in a different perspective? Look what I have accomplished having Asperger's. I'm using it as my strength instead of the thing that is keeping me from accomplishing it. So when you introduce yourself to me and you immediately said that, you broke the ice. I'm like, wow, this is a warrior. This is somebody who's doing it no matter what and making his dreams a reality. I want to get to know you. Like, it wasn't about, oh, I'm going to talk to somebody who wants to know about Encanto. I wanted to hear about your story. Like, for me, I want to know, how was it growing up? What do you think helped you from, like, because I see your mom, she's so sweet. And me being a mom of 7 kids, what were the things your mom did that really helped you growing up?
Um, so for my with my Asperger's.
Yes.
Um, so I couldn't really like go into social areas, or I'll have like massive panic attacks. And so I just listened to music, and that's what stopped me. It's like she bought me headphones, and I walked around with them. So that's what helped me when I was younger. But I've learned to like control it in a way. So yeah.
Well, you are a great interviewer. You have an awesome setup. I love hearing your story. I mean, you motivate me to be a better mom. You give me, like, you empower me, so I can only imagine another person, kid, woman, anybody that has your same situation, for them to feel like they can accomplish anything because you're doing it. So you keep doing what you're doing. You're really becoming a beacon for so many out there. And it might not reflect in the numbers. And let me tell you about a story about that. My husband and I did this song called Porque Ella y No Yo, and it was a very low rap. And I was playing around with my textures on it. And it was like, háblame claro, dime por qué acabó. Lo de nosotros fue más de una noche de simple pasión. And it was like very intimate. And I put it up on my YouTube channel, honestly. It had like 300 views. Not that big a deal. We didn't put any promotion into it. It was just us in Miami, and he grabbed a camera. He was like, "Hey, we remember that song we did? Why don't we just shoot a video?" And I was like, "Okay." And it was a one shot. Like, I literally pushed the button, we shot it, and then we went to eat. So we put it up on the YouTube channel, and one of those people that watched that video was Grace Kim, which was the casting director's assistant to Jamie Sparrow Roberts, which was the casting director for Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph and Raya and the Last Dragon. And she's the one that then contacted me, Grace Kim, and asked me if I would want to audition for Encanto. Now, I didn't know it was Encanto. She said, we're having undisclosed movie, undisclosed role. Would you like to audition? I said yes. I was like, I don't care. I'll be a bug. I don't care what I am. And after I got my call back was when I found out that it was for Encanto and it was for the role of Dolores. So you never know whose life you're impacting. You don't know who's watching. You just put your best content, put your best foot forward, expose people to the idea that you can make anything happen regardless of your limitations or whatever situation you're born into, and that it can become your strength. It can become that, hello, I am Luke and I have Asperger's and I would love to interview you. And that alone would be something to move people to saying yes. Instead of being something to look down on, it's something that I go, dude, I want to get to know you, Luke. Like, tell me about you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say now. Do you have like a favorite highlight of Encanto?
Yes. My favorite highlight was the scene that we're all sitting down at the table and I'm having the moment with Mirabel and she's looking at me like, don't you tell. And I'm all like, and I'm just trying to keep it in. And then all of a sudden I tell Camilo and Camilo shapeshifts into like a million different things. So that scene is so powerful to me because it's not just the fact that I'm keeping the greatest secret ever and I'm about to explode and that I can't keep it in anymore. But we're all sitting at the table, we're all having a meal together. And for me, that I grew up with my grandma watching telenovelas where dark skinned people were the help or the nannies or the background dancers, but never any principal roles or sitting at the table nonetheless. To see that scene was really powerful to me, to see how Disney has changed the game for all Afro Latinos, for all Latinos, really, for people of color that are Latinos that have not necessarily gotten the mic before, to be sitting at the table, for people like me that look like me and look like Mauro to be acknowledged as being Latinos and part of one same family. Because I don't think a lot of people understand that Latinos, even in my own kids, I have one that has green eyes and another one that looks kind of like me and another one that looks like the dad, which has like straight, dead straight hair. And she's very light skinned. People don't even believe I'm her mom. And I'm her mom. I gave birth to her. I was there. I carried her in my tummy. I know she was there. She knows she was there. And so that's how we come. We come in every shade and every size, and the way that Disney so meticulously made each character representative, accurately represented of a family that is a true Latino family. And it's not just in Colombian families, but in Dominican and Puerto Ricans and Cuban families. We come in all shapes and flavors. And it was so lovely for me. And that really impacted me, that scene specifically.
One of my favorite scenes was when I think when they're sitting at the table, but she's listening to what they're saying about like the date, and she's like, he wants 5 kids.
Yes, he wants 5 babies. And she's like, I think
Yeah.
it's hilarious because I don't know why they chose the number 5, but I have 5 kids living in my house. And so I was like, it's okay. Dolores understands, Mariano. I'll have 5 babies.
Oh,
Oh, let me tell you about another thing. When I was recording with Lin-Manuel Miranda, he is the person that can make you feel so at ease, especially when you're being directed by these incredible people. I mean, Zootopia is one of my favorite films, not just because Shakira's in it, but like just the whole dynamic between being pets, but not really, they're real people in a real life scenario. But Jared Bush and Byron Howard were so incredibly generous and patient with me, directing me, because I'd never been in an animated film. So I'm forever grateful of their patience and allowing me to be vulnerable in the character and making silly noises, like making part of the film, you know?
Zootopia is one of my favorite. Did you see them making a new one? Apparently.
Yeah, I think they're working. I'm not allowed to speak yet on it, but I know they're working on something like super fab for Zootopia. So I think it might be a series. I'm excited.
Are you working on anything now? Or can you not
I
say?
am. I can't for a couple of things that I'm working on, but they're so good. They are so good. And one of the projects that I am currently crossing fingers for is such a beautiful project, and I think it is the voice of so many people right now, and I cannot wait. It's a Disney project, but I'm really hoping that I can be the one to get this role. It really means so much to me. I am working on 2 records at the same time. I'm working one with Warner Chappell Production Music, which is going to be mainly in English. It's going to be a little bit bilingual, but it's really modern. It's fun. And then I have a Tejano album as well, which is all in Spanish and just touches of English. So it's like vice versa. The one for Warner Chappell is like 90% English, 10% Spanish, and the one for CHR Records and with Sky Urbano, which is my husband and my label, for Tejano Internacional, that one's like 80-90% Spanish and only 10-20% in English. So it's really fun.
Do you like singing in Spanish more or English? Or yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the same for me because when you grow up with both, you don't have a distinction. And I am not like a person who grew up speaking English and can speak Spanish. I grew up speaking English and Spanish. I don't even remember a moment where one language was the primary. It's just always been both. So si hablo en español es completamente en español y es como que si fuera la misma cosa than when I speak in English. So sometimes I even do that with my kids. So I'm like speaking to them in English and I'll swap into Spanish and they're like, Mommy. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they've caught on. But yeah, it's just one language for me.
That's so cool. I've always wanted to learn Spanish, but it's very it's very hard to learn
Start with Duolingo. I mean, they're not paying me to say this, but Duolingo is really good. It takes you from like your basics up. And so even my own kids, even though I speak Spanish and my husband is 100% Latino, he was born in Monterrey, Mexico, and he's a super Tejano. So he's produced for so many people. He's produced for Luis Fonsi and Ciara, and he's done songs for Juan P. Moreno, Elida Levante. His first language is Spanish. Like he learned English growing up, but once he was in the United States. But yeah, so we don't speak to our kids a lot in Spanish. And now we're noticing with Encanto, it was like, man, we need to go back to the roots of really talking to them more consistently. And so my little boy, he's 10 years old, he's taking Spanish in school. And so we've really made it more of a determined movement for both of us to really speak more Spanish so they don't lose that. Because when I heard Dos Oruguitas, which is a song in the film that is in Spanish, the way that it touched my heart was so special because I felt so united with my roots, and Lin-Manuel being the first Spanish song he's ever written. I can't even believe it. It's such a masterpiece. The way that it combines all of the emotions that go and breathe throughout this whole film and ignites such unity and passionate interpretation of what you see, but you don't hear dialogue on, which when Dos Oruguitas plays, if you notice, nobody's talking. Dos Oruguitas is saying the whole story, you know. And for people that don't know what oruguitas are, is caterpillars. So you have two caterpillars that were in love and just being so swept up and living their nights and their mornings and just imagining all this wondrous world that they were going to be a part of. And then when they go into the chrysalis phase of the story, which is then something happens and life doesn't turn out the way that they hoped and dreamt, but then it becomes something different. And they're still beautiful, but they have to learn how to fly without having what they used to have, being caterpillars. And so that it tells the story of having to start a new future and having to fly and having to embrace the pain, embrace this difficult thing that has happened, and still be okay at the end, which is what this whole film is about. It's about having to adapt to change, accepting it, and then becoming stronger because of it.
I think Lin he did there's a movie called In the Heights, and that's all like
Yes.
yeah. I interviewed Noah from that, and he's Graffiti Pete in it, and he was saying how it's like the way Lin like works with the cast, and also he like mixes like how he brought like Latino like culture into, but he's just yeah, my older sister, so I have two sisters and I'm in the middle. Yeah, so we're all like Disney nerds and like Lin nerds, and yeah, In the Heights is my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies, and Hamilton is my older sister. Yeah, so
I love Hamilton.
yeah, when we
That's
heard
the rap I auditioned with, the one from Justified.
is it that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the Satisfied. I'm sorry, the Satisfied, right? And that's the one. So this is what it feels like to match with someone at your level. What the hell is the catch? It's the feeling of freedom of seeing the light. It's Ben Franklin with the key and the kite. You see it right. The conversation lasted 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Everything is said in total agreement. It's a dream and it's a bit of a dance, a bit of a posture. It's a bit of a stance. He's a bit of a flirt, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I asked about his family. Did you see his answer? I loved that. I mean, I watched Hamilton and it always brings me to tears because the way he wrote everything to be so magnetic with us today, yet telling a story that happened so long ago, yet using characters that are Afro-Latinos, Black, white, everybody combined in such an incredible way. And the quirkiness of it and the comedy within it, and yet the heart and the soul and the grit and the determination. I'm not throwing away my shots. Oh, I love it. He brought that to Encanto, a little bit of that feeling too.
yeah. When we heard he was releasing the Disney movie, we're like, it's gonna be amazing, and it was. We even named our puppy.
It's broken every record. It's
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we named our puppy. It's from Hamilton, but we named her Peggy. So she's yeah. We've had her for a year now,
So
and
cute.
she's very yeah. But yeah,
So is that the puppy?
no, that's a bird.
Oh, that's a bird. I thought it was a
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think Lin is a visionary and he's sees music in a multi-dimensional level. I can't imagine being in his mind. You know, it would be so beautiful to see the colors he hears because he paints with every word and he's so inspired in everything he does. And what he's done with Encanto and is really taking a whole bunch of people who love doing what we do. I mean, Stephanie Beatriz, Gianluca Guzzamo, Wilmer Valderrama, it makes you melt. It's just every single person involved in this film. Ravi, oh, we bring all of our heart and soul into this project, but we never expected this kind of a reaction from people. I mean, being 3 times #1 on the Hot 100s, 5 times on the Hot 200s, breaking so many records. And this was just a loving group of people coming together and forming this family. And the way that it's been embraced worldwide is so humbling. I cannot believe it that I get to look at my co-stars and be like, that's Diane Guerrero killing it as Isabella. Like, I cannot hear anybody but Carolina Gaitán as Pepa or Mauro Castillo as Felix. They bring their spirit to every character. And I'm forever grateful for the directors and selecting me for Dolores, such a special character that means so much for so many. And being able to hear of how it impacted your life and how you feel so keen to feeling related to that character and feeling her so relatable, it brings me such joy, and I'm so thrilled forever to be part of that film. Luke, it has been so wonderful getting to know you, your sister, your mom. Thank you so much for your time. This has been great.
Thank you for like saying it, yeah, and putting up with us.
Are you kidding me? I will hang out with you guys, and if I'm in Australia, I'll hit you up so then we can get together for some lunch or
My mom
something.
said you can come stay and have tea.
Oh, I would love to taste your tea. I have heard that you guys make the best tea. I would love it. My daughter, for a while, she was a barista and she learned to make tea just the perfect way. She was like, Mom, you're supposed to steep it for this many minutes. If you go overboard, it changes the flavor. So I would love to. Thank you, Mom. I will. I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has probably been one of my favorite interviews.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And for everybody supporting the film, thank you so much for being here, supporting Luke and this amazing work he's doing. Remember, never to give up on your dreams, no matter how difficult it seems. Just be ready to put in the work, and fear can be your strength.